But yeah, I started doing band interviewing because I got an internship at a TV station. I was actually originally going to be a reporter on the news. That was going to be my job. Can you guys imagine that? I can't imagine that. That'd be so boring. Thank God I ended up here, right? But yeah, I was going to be a reporter on the news. It was going to be super crazy, and I was going to do that. But I was working for the NBC Channel 6 news station, and while I was working for them, I started going out to concerts and interviewing bands. The first band I ever interviewed was a band called Metro Station, who's actually on work tour. I'm a huge fan of Metro Station. Raise your hand if you guys a fan of Metro Station. If you're not, I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm just kidding. But I do punch you. You want me to punch you? Okay. But yeah, so I love Metro Station. Second band I ever interviewed was a band called Slipknot, which is crazy. I was 18. The guy was terrifying. He had a really big nose. I should watch it sometime. Yeah. I did ask it. I don't think I did, but that would have been a funny question. But yeah, you know, so I started interviewing these bands, and the TV station wasn't really doing much with it though. So I made a YouTube channel called Bryan Stars. The reason it was called Bryan Stars is because Bryan Stars was my gamer tag on Xbox Live when I was a little kid. So that's why I made the name Bryan Stars. It worked out well though, because thank God I made the name Bryan Stars. I feel like that's why people know my name, is because it's kind of a memorable name. And that's lesson one. I feel like when you guys make a YouTube channel, you might want to even change it right now. Make it a name that's like easy to remember, you know? You look at names like Shane Dawson, Tyler Oakley, Bryan Stars, Black Veil Brides, you know, like Johnny Gilbert. Stupid name. But yeah, it is hard to. But like, think of like, I mean, you can either use your name, but you know, maybe you want to give yourself a, you know, Damon Fizzy is another example. That's not his real last name. So D Fizzy, you know, so like, it's not his last name. So yeah, you know, maybe think of giving yourself a name. So yeah, I was putting these things on YouTube, and but definitely the videos that blew me up were Handy Beer Sack. No, Black Veil Brides. And those are the videos that really blew me up, and I actually decided to drop out of college and pursue YouTube full time after interviewing about 20 or 30 bands and seeing that it was really catching on. But I would say for you guys, you want to start out doing YouTube as a hobby. I'm not telling any of you guys to drop out of college. All of you guys, here's what I would do. I would definitely start uploading videos right now. Start practicing. I uploaded a lot of videos starting out, but I spent a lot of time on each video. I edited them. I got better with my questions. I spent a lot of time going to to all these different band interviews and trying to make each interview funnier, figuring out what you guys wanted to see. And also, I really focused on you guys, my audience, and figuring out what bands you wanted to see. You guys wanted to see interviews with bands like Asking Alexandria, and Pierce the Veil, and All Time Low, and bands that I had never heard of before. Because I was a nerd. I was like a gamer. You know, I played Halo all day. I was weird. But I kind of got into this scene because of you guys. So, figure out like your brand and try and grow. And if your hobby starts to catch on, then that kind of becomes a thing. So anyway, long story short, as the thing took off, I dropped out of college and started traveling all over the country, interviewing like every band that I could get my hands on, literally. And now I'm here. So, but I don't know. I'd like to turn this over to you guys. We're gonna come make this Q&A, and if you guys have no questions, then I'll just sit here and be awkward and ramble. So, yeah. Yeah, of course. So I'm sure, how many people here would love to just go grab Andy and give him a hug, right? Okay, so obviously everyone wants to interview these big bands. So this level, like when you get to bands like Black Veil Brides, Pierce the Veil, it's not going to happen at this point unless you get really big. The thing you guys have to know is when I interviewed Black Veil Brides, Pierce the Veil, All Time Low, this is just being honest, they were not very big. When I interviewed Black Veil Brides, there were like 50 people at their show. No one was running up to Andy to get a picture. He was very small. Same thing with Pierce the Veil. When I interviewed Pierce the Veil, they were still touring in a van. When I interviewed All Time Low, they were opening for Boys Like Girls. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but they weren't a big band back then. I interviewed all these bands when they were all starting out, and I feel like for you guys, you have to interview bands that are also in your position. You have to kind of have a gauge on who you think is going to be the next big band. Like, I see you're wearing a Relapse Symphony shirt. I feel like they have a lot of hype right now. They could go on to be big. You know, they kind of remind me of Black Veil Brides. There's bands like Ghost Town, Say We Can Fly. You know, yeah, you're right. Say We Can Fly is a dancer. I was kidding. Say We Can Fly is an exotic dancer from Canada. It's so cool that he's out here. But yeah, I mean, you know, but like you gotta like try and figure out who's gonna be the next big thing and get those interviews. You know, so. Well, I mean, I interviewed everybody. Like, there were certain bands that I didn't go for, but I interviewed the bands that I thought had potential. And you can still go for the big bands, you know, and try. There's no harm in asking, but, you know, a lot of times they're going to say no. But smaller bands are going to do almost all press because they're so hungry to be the next Black Veil Brides or the next Never Shout Never that they'll do it. So, and then if you worked with them when they were small, they're going to be grateful and they're going to stick with you as they grow, and hopefully you're growing too. So, other thing is most bands are going to list their press contact on their Facebook page. So that's a good way to do it. And a good rule of business is when you send out an email to interview a band, don't be a fangirl. Don't be like, oh my god, like I really want to interview Pierce the Veil. Like they get so hot. Like if I could just have 5 minutes of his time, I promise I won't hug him. Like, you know, don't be like that. Be professional. Be like, hi, you know, my name is Natalie. Or what is your name? My name is Chelsea, like the Somerset song. Be like, hi, my name is Chelsea. You know, I run this blog. I have 10,000 followers, and I just need, you know, I'd like to do a 10-minute interview with the band. Here's some links to my previous coverage. I'll be at this date. Please let me know if we can set it up. Sincerely, Chelsea. XOXO. I'm just kidding. You know, like keep it very professional, and you're more likely to get a response. And definitely plug like how the band will benefit. Like, you know, I have this many followers, and my demographic is, you know, 8 to 12-year-old people in Korea. I'm just kidding. Like, but like, you know, like what's their target demographic? If they're a young band, they probably want to be reaching this demographic. You know, like 12 to 18-year-old girls or something. So like that's my main demographic. Just things that like they probably want to hear. So yeah. Also, there's no harm in going to a show and like stalking small bands. You know, like if you go to a show and you see Say We Can Fly walking around, you might be able to walk up to them and be like, hey, I run this Tumblr blog. You know, I have 30,000 followers. Would you like to do a 5-minute interview or a 2-minute interview? And then, you know, once you got them in that position, you can drag it out for 2 hours. Just kidding. But, you know, you make it like 5 or 10 minutes, and there you go. So, Plus has a question. Yes?
Challenges you've been facing while interviewing video? You scream. No. How many challenges have you been facing when interviewing bands?
What are the biggest challenges I've faced? The biggest challenges I've faced with interviewing bands is the traveling, because obviously, you know, bands. If you just wait for the bands to be in your backyard, unless you live in like Los Angeles, where are we today? We're in Houston, Texas. Wow. Okay. Hi, Houston. So I mean, yeah, obviously, like if you live in Houston, I'm sure a lot of bands come here, but you know, maybe what other cities do they tour in around here? Dallas. How far away is Dallas?
Like 4 hours.
Okay, so so you guys, for you it's Houston. Okay, so yeah, I mean, when a band comes to Houston, you know, it's just, I guess, getting to the show, and maybe no matter, even if it's not the closest venue in Houston, you know, getting to every show and trying to get access to the band. And then I would also, I guess I'm speaking from your experience. My biggest challenge was getting to every show because I lived in the middle of nowhere. I lived in a place called Nebraska. Some people have actually never heard of Nebraska. It's kind of weird. But yeah, so I lived in Nebraska, and getting to shows, because they either came to Omaha, which was an hour away, Kansas City, which was 3 hours away, and then sometimes you go to like Wichita, which was like 5 hours away. It was literally like, it was bad. And I had to do all the driving usually because my friends couldn't drive. It was really unfair. So yeah, I would do like 5-hour drives sometimes, do all the interviews for like 4 or 5 hours in the desert heat, and then drive 5 hours back. Sometimes I worked 12 or 15 hours days to do it. I mean, literally one time I woke up at like 7 in the morning, drove 5 hours, I was in the sun from like 12 to like 8, and I interviewed like every band on like I forget what tour it was. It was like this hard rock tour. Interviewed 10 bands back to back to back to back to back, 8 briefly, and then drove all the way back in one night. And it was literally like a 20-hour day. You know, but I was determined to get every single interview. Like, you guys go through my videos, especially like a couple years ago, like I interviewed over 500 bands. I got everybody. Like, I'm not doing that as much anymore, but back in the day, I got everyone. A lot of bands I got more than one. Some bands I got like 7, like the Brides. So, you know, it's like, you gotta be hardworking and determined. And that's how I did it with interviewing. If you're doing YouTube, you have to have that same determination. If you make a schedule, like let's say you're gonna post 3 times a week, you better be ready to post 3 freaking times a week and not miss your schedule. Make sure every single video is perfect. Yeah, unless you're PewDiePie, then you gotta post 4 times a day. Seriously, that guy never sleeps. So, you know, I mean, you just gotta be ready to outwork the competition. The other thing is, the other thing you gotta remember is, you know, as much as, you know, you guys here love each other and care about each other, this is the Hunger Games. You gotta be ready to kill each other, alright? No, this is your competition, man. So, like, you gotta be ready to work hard, because everyone out there wants to be a YouTuber. Just like every band that's out there on Warped Tour wants to be playing main stage, and only 8 or 9 bands get to do it every year. And there's a lot of money at play, so, you know, you gotta be ready to work hard. And this isn't just YouTube advice, this is life advice. You gotta be ready to outwork everybody, or else you are gonna be stuck with a regular job. And I don't think you guys want a regular job. So whatever it is you guys decide to do with your life, be ready to outwork everybody. I really can't hear you. What? So, like, what's the biggest challenge of touring? For me or for the bands? Or how do I deal with it? A lot of drugs. I'm just kidding. What is your name? Emma? Emma. Like Emma Watson? Oh, she feels bad because she cried. No, don't worry, don't feel bad. I feel bad if you punch me, but don't feel bad if you cry. I know, it's fine. Thank you. For touring, I feel like the biggest challenge of touring is that, especially on Warped Tour, we do like 45 shows in like 50 days, so it's like non-stop. And I feel like this has nothing to do with like you guys at all, like in terms of the class, but like the biggest challenge is like seeing the line every day and trying to like meet everybody and knowing that it's really difficult to do that. And also like, you know, wanting to make sure that each person that meets us gets, you know, a Bryan's Cars experience, or like, you know, that the Johnny that they see in the videos is the Johnny that they meet in person. But it's very tough. You know, you do a 2-hour meet and greet every single day, teach a class every single day, vlog every day. You know, it's like, it's very draining, and I'll be honest, like sometimes kids come up and you're just like, maybe is it? You're so out of it because it's also really hot. So you just have to really like put up a lot of energy into like focusing and like making sure you like, you know, give every person your best. You know what I mean? So I mean, how do you meet 1,000 people for 45 days in a row? It's really tough. So, and I feel like when you guys meet bands, just be aware that it's really tough for them to like, you know, to meet all those people every day. It's very tiring. So they're doing their best, and you know, as long as they're not rude to you, I promise they're doing the best they can. So, who else has a question? Yeah. What?
How did you guys meet each other?
How did like all the YouTubers meet each other? Well, actually, I was interviewing Damon, and this goes back to like outworking everybody. But I met Damon because I hit him up over Twitter, and I was like, "Hey, I want to interview you," and he was like, "Okay." And then I was in LA, which is where he lived at the time, and he was at Disneyland, and he was like, "Hey man, I don't think we can do the interview today." I was leaving the next day, and he's like, "I don't think we can do the interview at Disneyland, sorry." And I was like, no, I'll come find you. So I literally went to Disneyland and tracked him down for like 3 hours. And that's when I met Damon. So you can watch the video. It's called Deep Busy Interview. So I literally tracked him down at Disneyland. I vlogged it. It was awesome. It's in the video. We did it. Yeah, we did it in the Disneyland hotel. It was pretty funny. It was such a perverted interview, and like there's like kids walking around. Yeah, everything I do is perverted. I'm a pretty bad person. I'm most definitely going to hell. So yeah, same. I think we're all going, to be honest.
Yeah.
For you guys, since all you guys watch my videos, we're all going there. And then Johnny, cool fact about Johnny, and this is something I would apply to all you guys, is don't be afraid to put yourself out there or to ask for opportunities or to ask for things. Like I know Warped Tour is doing Warped UK this year. They haven't invited me, so I literally told Kevin, I was like, hey, I would love to do Warped UK if you want me to go. I let him know that I was interested. Johnny, I was doing a third Bryan Stars tour. You guys heard of the Bryan Stars tour?
Yeah.
Okay, so, what? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I was doing a third Bryan Stars tour. I needed a merch guy, and Johnny and me had become friends over Twitter and stuff because he was a YouNow star at the time. Anyway, so he texted me and he was like, hey, I would love to do your merch if you're interested. And I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a shot. So I did, and we became really good friends, and he did a really, really good job. And because of that, we hit it off. And after the tour ended, I became very good friends with his mom as well, Mama Gilbert, and he didn't want to go back to Nebraska, he didn't want to go back to California. And go back to his old life. So I told his mom that if he wanted to, he could move to Nebraska for a bit, and he did. So we started making YouTube videos together in Nebraska. And then after about 6 months, we decided Nebraska really sucks. So we decided to move to LA. And the moral of that story is don't be afraid to ask. So if there's an opportunity at your school, ask. That Warped Pit blog opportunity, submit yourself. Even if you see Kevin Lyman, don't be afraid to walk up to him and be like, hey, like. If there's an opportunity for me to work for you next year, I would love to be a part of it. But make sure you have something to back it up. Like, I volunteered for this volunteer organization, and I know you have a lot of nonprofits. Like, I would come out here and work really hard, or something like that. You know what I mean? So don't be afraid to ask, because the worst thing they could say is no. Same thing with fans interviews. I asked Ronnie Radke if he would do an interview right after he got out of prison, and he said yes. So, and now that has over 1 million views. So I was not expecting a yes on that one. So you never know what's going to happen. So don't be afraid to ask. How can your parents to do what? How can you get your parents to back it up? I think that one way to do it is to show them real life examples in terms of YouTube. I think to show them real life examples of people who are making a living doing it, and they're not going to look at numbers, I don't think, because all the numbers are going to show them is going to be like, well, that's like American Idol, like, only like 1 or 2 people win American Idol a year. They're going to think it's a long shot. You have to show them like stories, and a lot of them. Be like, look, here's Bryan. We started out doing this, and he did this, and he did this. And here's Johnny. He did this, 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 this. So like, you have to like walk them through it, because I think to them, YouTube is as weird as C-SPAN is to all of us. Do you guys know what C-SPAN is? Exactly. So, all right. So, you gotta just you gotta know what that is. You know what I mean? So yeah. Said she was really shy and she was surprised that I noticed her, and my response is, of course I noticed you were wearing a black Bill Pride shirt. No, seriously, that's a really cute shirt. I like that. So, and I love the highlighter. It's very cool. So, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm really glad. I think you told me you were gonna be in my class too. So I was like, so yeah. What is your question? You look kind of like Tyler Oakley, by the way. Right? Is that Tyler? Is that you? Everyone should take a picture of them and be like, is that Tyler Oakley? Alright, what's your question? What is like living with a bratty teenager?
Oh, Johnny.
Talking about Johnny? How many of you guys have a brother and sister? I was the older brother back home. I actually have a real brother and sister. Like, they're not imaginary. I actually have them. What? Maybe I do. Don't. Yeah, they're actually right here today. Hi, Lisa. That's her name. But yeah, actually, I think growing up with a brother and sister taught me a lot about how to be the older brother. I also worked, when I was younger, I worked as a camp counselor for a couple summers, so like, I had a lot of experience dealing with bratty children. Yeah, I like being, you know, an older brother or sister to people. You know, and I also like teaching. I just, it doesn't bother me. Me and Johnny have our fights, but I mean, he's like, even though he's a lot younger than me, he's probably like the best friend I've ever had most of the time. But no, I mean, like, me and Johnny have been together, like literally either on tour, then he came to Nebraska, then to LA, we did Warped Tour last summer. I mean, we've probably been in the same area, like, and slept in the same, like, you know, apartment, or same tour bus, or same area, same bed. No, I'm just kidding. We've probably always been together for like the past year and a half, so I don't think other than like my family, I've never had like that kind of close friend before, so I don't mind him at all. So he's a really cool dude. And also, you know, like, you know, we built a brand together. Like, Bryan Starr's interviews was amazing, and it is, but like, it's really cool to like be able to build something new. And Bryan and Johnny, I think the brand is very, very exciting. Also, you guys should go watch our new Bryan and Johnny video when you get home. It's really cool. Okay, you guys going to bed? She's going to bed. How about it? Yeah. Funniest moment that's ever happened on tour. I would say the funniest moment that's ever happened on tour would probably be, probably when I tried to like get into Canada and like for some reason, like, okay, we were in a van and Ghost Town was in a bus, and like we got there first, like me, Johnny, and Modern Day Escape. We got there first, and for like 3 hours they just wouldn't let us in, and like they made us get out and count all our merch and like take out all our clothes, and they treated us like prisoners. And then like Ghost Town like pulls up next to us in their luxury tour bus. And they were just like, they looked at all their passports and they're like, have fun guys, and just drove right by. And it was like freezing outside, and we were just like, no man, like, why are we? For like 4 hours, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning too. Like, it was the worst. Like, I looked like a crack addict. Like, I was dead. I always do.
Aww.
Thank you so much. But anyway, I do want to talk a little bit about like the class a little bit. So in terms of being a YouTuber, obviously you guys want to start uploading videos. I feel like, you know, if you guys want to become a YouTuber, get out there and start posting. Yes. Yeah, to start. So what do you use to edit your videos? How many of you guys have a computer? That's good. So you're into that? Yeah, so Mac, PC, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I would definitely recommend a Mac eventually if you can get one. I know they're expensive, but, you know, so get a job. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely say I like Macs, but whether you have Mac or PC, editing software, I would definitely recommend Adobe Premiere. You guys know what that is?